Good evening. It is I, Orcarisper, your guide in the Sanguine Archives, where we explore the lore of the world of darkness, from a perspective of and a focus on vampires, namely Clan Baali. So let me be your guide through the memories of the blood. In tonight's venture, I Am Legion, we will explore the meaning behind the name Baali and the power of names and what they can do to you and others. The name of the Baali is of utmost importance to understand Clan Baali. Rumors among neonates has it the Baali all serve the demon Baal and are his clan, with the demon possibly even being the original clan founder, patron, or at least heavily involved with the clan's founding. And while quite some neonate Baali believe this to be true, it's utterly and completely, totally wrong. And likely, the demon Baal is barely even aware of the existence of the Baali, and any elder Baali can tell you for certain that none of them deal with the demon Baal. Baal is an ancient Babylonian word and simply translates as Lord. Baal Zebub means Lord of the Flies, with Baal meaning Lord, Se meaning of, and Bab meaning flies. It's really that simple. Given the origins of the Baali in ancient Mesopotamia, it's not far-fetched to think that they gave themselves a name that was fitting in that culture. And that is what the Baalis are, by the way. They are lords. The lords. They are the lords of the Cainites, the lords of the world, the lords of hell, the lords among all creatures. The clan Baali is the lord of the clans of Cain. They see themselves as the rightful heirs to Cain's heritage and the world, given they might have been founded by multiple second-generation vampires or even Cain himself as exchange for the secret of the embrace. I can imagine Cain meeting with Lucifer and making a deal. After all, he didn't want to be alone, and he learned how to embrace from demons. So maybe the deal was something like, you tell me how to create vampires and I will create some to your command. Who knows? However, their powers speak for them too, given that the Baali fought two big wars against all 13 clans, faced prosecution from all 13 clans and are still standing. They command powers that no one else has with daimonion and dark thaumaturgy, and are the only vampires that actually ascend their state, or maybe you want to say descend, by becoming actual demons with infernal ranking, and thus becoming immortal, well, as much as demons are immortal at least. Not to mention that they only have some quite frightening abilities that nobody else has, like the re-embrace, where they can make you of their blood. Their accomplishments cement this as well, as they also manage to play with the other clans and infiltrate them like those do with mortal society, most famously with the Order of the Worm, where a major part of Clan Tremere is actually of Baali blood, and apparently nobody notices, even as the Baali manage to infiltrate the Council of Seven and may indeed have had a big role in creating the Tremere to begin with. The Baali lords want to rule. Mortals, Cainites, Hell, Earth, since that is their purpose, to rule and to ever grow in power and knowledge. Not comforting their subjects but leading them down a path that their Lord envisioned. The name is the game and tied to the self-understanding of the Baali as Cain's rightful heirs. They are better than other Cainites and certainly above men. While many kindred see mortals as cattle, the Baali view Cainites as their subjects. Ultimately, that is, but the lords also have seen what a revolt looks like and play ball for as long as they have to. But even an impoverished noble, without power, surrounded by peasants, has something that the others lack: destination. Indeed, I think that the Baali don't even use the term kindred at all. While all vampires are ultimately Cainites, The Baali are so different to a level that they don't feel kinship with other Canaanites, just like you don't feel kinship with a cow just because you both breathe air. The Baali rule Canaanites by birthright because they are something else, something higher. They have more potent blood than they do, and after all, blood and lineage is everything, in special given that some Baali claim to be descendants of Cain himself, and I mean directly as in second generation vampires. And this is what makes the Baali so immoral. Their crimes against humanity and other vampires are after all no different than you murdering a pesky insect. Do you feel guilt if you squash a spider on the wall? Do you feel bad if you pinch a fly? Do you ever had concerns when actually eating meat? So why should the Baali? They are after all higher beings. And certainly the ends justify the means of a lord. Lord is also fitting because lords are often at odds with each other, fighting each other. The old clan Simitsi can tell you a story about that one. And it perfectly fits the Baali and their infighting, as so many different factions of the Baali exist, all at war with each other, all fighting each other, and even individual Baali, while cooperating, trying to further their own power and reach above all else. They are loyal to the clan, they are loyal to the group that they belong to, but they are first loyal to themselves, secondly loyal to the group, and to the clan only as far as they have to survive. I like to refer to the Baali as the clans of hell, since any faction is more akin to its own clan really, at least by politics. I know the blood kind of unites all of them, but that's really where the similarities end, and as I said, are you a dog because you eat meat? I don't think so. More importantly though, the Lords is a name that isn't tied to blood like say the Childer of Malkav or the Nosferatu. You can actually become a Baali as an apostate through a ritual, and the Lords aren't so much bound by the blood that runs through their veins as they are bound by mindset, if not by goals though. Anyone can be a Lord, and Lords differ in their skill sets. One may be a Lord of Art, another a Lord of Combat, yet another a Lord of Knowledge, and another one a Lord of Intrigue. Like the Infernal Lords, the Baali can have any set of skills and competences. They may be one of the most diverse clans of all in that regard, because the Baali embrace one thing above all: exceptionalism, followed by drive, because if you want to become a lord, you are not granted that status or power, you have to take it for yourself. Ultimately, the Baali, as lords, think that they can get away with pretty much anything, because after all, they are better, and their vision is very much based in the feudalism that we know from the Dark Ages. The lords finally, while they technically could have a king, just like feudalistic societies worked, the lords are the real power holders. They make and break kings. The king can order, but if the lords follow or not is up to them. And that ties into the one thing that the Baali despise, and that is letting someone else have power over you. That's the only crime that the Baali will actually punish and look down at. When Moloch fell in love with Troil in Carthage, and the Baali found out that their founder, Moloch, or one of their founders, has fallen in love and thus given the Bruja power over himself, they didn't fight for him, they abandoned him, they spit at his ashes, because after all, no lord wants anyone above himself. With this, we will end tonight's journey to the Sanguine Archives. I hope you enjoyed your stay and learned something. If you want to help me out, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, tell others about the Sanguine Archives. It helps a lot and I appreciate it. Thank you and good night.